Manly come to Lidcombe Oval, West's home ground.
We were going to make sure whoever played us at Lidcombe Oval was going to have the worst Sunday of their lives.
A very strong physical side. West will put Manly to the test with a vengeance today.
It was going to be on. We could hear the thumping going on next in the change room.
We could hear them next door, and we think, eyes roll up thinking, we know what's going to happen here. Because you could tell by the pre-match warm-up, the shouting and the screaming, whether they were hitting the lockers, kicking the lockers or knocking them over, you don't know. They were getting themselves wound up into a frenzy. And we were ready for it, but we weren't the style of people who sort of went around doing that type of thing.
Well, you could always hear what they were saying, and it was very explicit. They were naming players, that this bloke couldn't handle this, and that bloke was a fairy. And
they were going to intimidate us, and they thought they probably could, but they weren't going to intimidate us.
Dallas Donnelly, who I'd been told had had an epileptic fit, a day or so before the game, and they generally were associated with Dallas not taking his tablets, and that was normally associated with him having a belly full of beer. So I do remember ripping into Dallas in the dressing room. The players generally took the view that when he'd had one of these epileptic fits, he was all emptied of any emotion and he was drained of physical energy. I challenged Dallas Donnelly and I said, what are you going to do when Terry Randall, comes at you when you're in that first tackle? And he looked at me and he was still angry with me for ripping into him, and his eyes narrowed. And he said, you'll know after 30 seconds.
Terry Randall, straight and hard, swinging right arm from John Donnelly, and a couple of punches going in, and there's the start of it.
It upset them. Things like that didn't upset us, where a lot of other sides did.
They've come at us, with their aggression, their toughness, but we, I think we stood up to them.
And there's a penalty. Oh, and they're coming in on Donnelly now. There was Randall with a little bit of a get square, I think, and it's on again. Well, these are pretty ugly scenes.
Good. Have a blue early, make them keep thinking about it and beat them with skill.
Bruce Gibbs has a go. Oh, he's going to score an easy one. Well, the Manly defence just folded up and fell right apart there, and big Bruce Gibbs used his 16-stone-plus bump to go over virtually without a hand being laid upon him until the last despairing bit when he was actually over the line. Look at this, right through. Terrible defence.
We were the most feared team in Sydney. They all frightened of us. And see, if you go on the football field frightened, you're halfway there.
Win, lose or draw, they were going to walk away there with some bark off them.
Gartner, Brannigan. Oh, intercept. Will they get him? Buddy Kane's off. He's up halfway. Stops, drops, goes backwards, gets a pass back infield to Wayne Smith. Clever stuff. Wayne Smith. Oh, he's decked him. Oh, yes. Very high, very, very illegal.
I was pretty well clear on my way to the try line, and Stephen Knight came across on an angle at me, and I stepped inside him and he threw his arm out and he collected me. I can remember not feeling that bad. Before I could get to my feet, I had Tom Radonicus whispering in my ear that I should stay down because it looked that bad Stephen Knight was going to go.
So many clashes and times where the referee could have sent 5 or 6 players off. I happened to be, unfortunately, the last one where I think he'd had enough.
We belted them. We beat them on the footy field, we beat them everywhere, all around the paddock.
They were the better side in the day. We didn't have an excuse, We didn't play the open football we wanted to play, and that suited them,